Imagine this. You're standing in an airport, passport in hand, about to board a flight to the country you've dreamed of visiting your entire life. Your heart is racing with excitement. You worked hard, saved money, and finally got that visa that seemed impossible to obtain. You think to yourself, this is it. This is where my life changes. But what you don't know, what you couldn't possibly know, is that within hours of landing, you'll be dragged from your hotel room in the middle of the night, thrown into a prison cell, and accused of crimes you've never committed. What you don't know is that for the next several months, you'll be tortured, beaten, and left to question whether you'll ever see your family again. And what you absolutely don't know is that all of this is happening because somewhere out there, there's someone who looks exactly like you, someone who's connected to one of the most dangerous criminal organizations in the country, and the police think you're him. This isn't fiction. This isn't some Hollywood thriller. This is what happened to one man whose only crime was wanting to take a vacation. Today, I'm going to walk you through the complete survival guide that could save your life if you ever find yourself in a similar nightmare. We're going to talk about the psychology of surviving false imprisonment, the legal traps that can destroy innocent people, how to navigate encounters with both law enforcement and criminal organizations when you're caught in the middle, and most importantly, the mental strategies that kept one man alive when every logical reason said he should give up. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn could be the difference between life and death. Before we dive into the survival strategies, you need to understand something crucial about how quickly your life can change. Most people walk through life with a certain level of confidence that the systems designed to protect us actually work. We believe that if we're innocent, the truth will come out. We believe that police investigate before they arrest. We believe that courts care about evidence, but what happens when all of those beliefs are shattered in a single moment? What happens when the very systems meant to protect you become the ones hunting you down? The story we're examining today reveals something terrifying about modern life. In an increasingly connected world where surveillance is everywhere, where databases track our every movement, and where international cooperation between law enforcement agencies is stronger than ever, there's a dark side that nobody talks about. Sometimes the system gets it wrong. Sometimes the technology fails. Sometimes a photograph matches, a name is similar, or in rare cases, two people look so alike that one person's life can be destroyed because of another person's crimes. And when that happens, when you become the victim of mistaken identity on an international scale, everything you thought you knew about justice, fairness, and human rights goes out the window. What makes this particular case so valuable to study is that it contains every possible nightmare scenario rolled into one. False arrest, torture, isolation from family, language barriers, corrupt officials, organized crime, and a legal system in a foreign country where you have no rights and no voice. But here's what's remarkable. The person at the center of this survived. Not only did he survive, but he managed to prove his innocence, expose corruption, and walk away. How? That's what we're going to break down step by step, because hidden in this nightmare are lessons that could save your life. Let's start with the moment everything changes. You're asleep in a hotel room in a foreign country. You're exhausted from travel. You're dreaming about the vacation ahead. Then suddenly you hear voices, footsteps, the sound of a door being opened. You open your eyes, and there are armed men standing in your room. Your brain can't process what's happening because this scenario is so far outside your normal experience that it doesn't even seem real. This is the first critical moment, and this is where most people make their first fatal mistake. When human beings experience sudden, extreme trauma, our brains have three automatic responses: fight, flight, or freeze. In a situation like this, fighting is suicide. These are armed officers, possibly corrupt, possibly violent, and you're alone in a foreign country. Flight is impossible. You're disoriented, you don't know where you are, and they're blocking the exit. So most people freeze, they comply, they go into shock. And this is actually the correct initial response, but here's what you need to understand. Your mindset in those first few seconds will determine whether you survive what comes next. The survivor in our case study did something crucial in that first moment of arrest. Even though he was terrified, even though he had no idea what was happening, he started asking questions. Not aggressive questions, not confrontational questions, but simple, direct questions. What's happening? Why are you here? What have I done? This might seem insignificant, but it's actually a critical survival technique. By asking questions, you're doing several things simultaneously. You're gathering information, which is essential for survival. You're establishing in your own mind that you're innocent, which will become your psychological anchor in the days ahead. You're also creating witnesses, even if these officers are corrupt. Some of them might remember later that you seemed genuinely confused, genuinely innocent. But here's the next critical point. When the authorities tell you you're under arrest, when they start accusing you of crimes, your natural instinct is to defend yourself vigorously. You want to shout, to protest, to make them understand they've made a mistake. This is exactly what you should not do. Why? Because in this moment, they don't care about the truth. They think they have their suspect. They've probably been looking for this person for a long time. They're not interested in your denials. In fact, the more you protest, the more guilty you look to them. This is a paradox of justice that innocent people struggle to understand. Sometimes the stronger your denial, the more convinced they become that you're lying. So what should you do instead? You need to shift into what I call strategic compliance mode. This doesn't mean admitting to crimes you didn't commit. It means recognizing that you're in immediate physical danger, and your first priority is survival, not justice. Justice comes later. In the moment of arrest, your goal is simple. Don't give them any excuse to hurt you more than they already plan to. Be respectful. Use formal language. Speak slowly and clearly. Don't make sudden movements. Ask for legal representation, but don't demand it. Request to contact your embassy, but don't threaten them with diplomatic consequences. Remember, these might be corrupt officers, or they might be honest officers who genuinely believe they've caught a dangerous criminal. Either way, aggression from you only makes your situation worse. My dear friends, I am going to stop my story now. This is to be continued. Subscribe and click the bell to watch Part 2.